Hello and welcome back to the Turnbuckle podcast. As you can see already on the screen, there's a little bit of a different dynamic today. First of all, we want to give a big shout out to David and his partner, who are currently away getting married. So congratulations to both of those. I hope everything goes perfect for yourselves. But in the meantime, we have a really big PLE coming up.
We do.
As you can see on the screen in WrestleMania. And it just so happens that G wanted to come and have a chat about it. So we're bringing it across today. So start off with G. How are you today?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks. Happy Easter. Well, it's Sunday when we're recording this, so happy Easter to everybody. Yeah, pretty good, not bad. Yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. Again, as you said, happy Easter to everyone. Full of chocolate, as you expect to be. So it's been a good day. I've been to see some family today, so I've just been chilling a bit, quiet one. Before work tomorrow. I hate working bank holiday, but no, we are going to bring you this weekly podcast. This week we are, as you can probably tell by the big logo in the middle of the screen, we are going to be looking ahead of WrestleMania. We are now 13 to 14 days out from WrestleMania. It's in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, in 2 weeks.
2 weeks yesterday is the night one of WrestleMania. So we're just going to give you a breakdown of every match, give you our thoughts and predictions, and have a look through the matches, and maybe have a discussion about some matches we'd like to see or any stipulations. I know I just said to Yuji off camera that we've only got 2 matches with stipulations at the moment.
Yeah.
So 2 weeks to go. Hopefully we get a few stipulations added. And I did read that we're due 14 matches in total. We've got 12. I have got 2 matches wrote down that are potentials that are meant to be happening. You always tend to get on the day at WrestleMania as well. You'll get like a celebrity match. I can imagine that might happen. And there's a couple of the matches, people that we'll discuss that obviously we think should be matches. But we'll kick it off with. I'll go from the bottom to the top because I've got it non-title up to title.
Okay.
So the first match I've got, which was really randomly announced on Raw, it's kind of come out of the blue. But what are your thoughts, G, on Seth Rollins and Gunther?
Well, I was really, really confused about this match because I was like, Seth Rollins versus Gunther, they have absolutely nothing to do with each other at the moment. So where has this even come from? And I'm still kind of confused myself as to how they've come about this decision for this match. But then when I look at it, I look that Seth has been having this thing with Heyman and the Vision and all that kind of thing. But then when you look at it, we've got Bronson out on an injury, Braun out on an injury, Logan and Theory have just won the tag bouts, so they're over in the tag division now, so there's nothing that's going to happen there. And then I'm like, well, Seth is literally just got this thing with Paul Heyman and he's not going to fight Paul Heyman literally in the ring, is he? Okay, yeah, Paul Heyman got a chair to the back, but he's not going to have a literal physical match. So I was like, I suppose they had to change the direction of what Seth was going to do for WrestleMania because of the way the Vision has broken itself down with those injuries and stuff. But I'm not sold on the whole Gunther match. I think they could have probably given him someone better, but it's just what it is, isn't it?
I just put it to you because I said I read something online that kind of linked Gunther helping Paul Heyman as his protection till WrestleMania on the basis that Paul Heyman basically feeds him Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam for Brock Lesnar's retirement match. Potential that could be a way that they've gone and he's purely just in it to protect himself. But I think this would have been a perfect time to maybe, if Bron Breakker is going to be back, because I have read that apparently he's due to be cleared the next week or two. Whether there's any truth to that, I'm not 100% sure. But if he was due to be back for WrestleMania, they potentially could have gone that way. I think the other way they could have gone, looking at how Logan Paul and Austin Theory won the titles, you potentially could have had LA Knight and Seth versus the Vision for the tag team titles, and then iShow Speed maybe could have cost LA Knight and Seth or been involved or something like that. It's completely random, and there's nothing to do with Gunther. Like, I seen someone tweet the other day that said there's not even been a segment backstage where Gunther's talking or Paul Heyman's talking, and the other person's in the background like there normally is that could link. It's completely out of the blue for me, but I think it should be a good match. They should give each other a good battle.
Yeah, I think it'll be a good match regardless, and we probably might see some interference from maybe like the likes of Brock or Paul Heyman coming out with Gunther or something. So we'll just see how it plays out. Maybe somebody comes to help Seth, all these other masked people that have been running around with him and stuff.
Yeah. It's definitely a different one, but maybe we get someone like Tommy Dreamer. Just comes back to, I don't know, attack Paul Heyman.
Maybe Danhausen curses Gunther. That would be incredible.
That would be great. Or
incredible.
Does he just curse the Vision?
Yeah.
Paul Heyman thinking, that's not me. And then it's Gunther gets the loss because he's connected to Paul Heyman.
Yeah.
Even though he's not in the Vision kind of thing. So, but obviously on the topic of Paul Heyman, brings us that next match, which is going to be an absolute showdown of Brock Lesnar versus Obafemi. That is going to be purely two monsters just going at it. What are your thoughts on that one?
So, if people watch me, they know I cannot stand Brock Lesnar. Do not like him whatsoever. But so obviously, I'm game for Obafemi to beat him. But however, they have been putting Oba over in the whole situation since he came out and answered the challenge, and I like that. But does that to me say that Oba is going to win at WrestleMania? Because I genuinely don't think he will. I can't see a world where Brock Lesnar lets somebody else like that win, because with Brock, it always seems to be about him, and he always has to have the last anything. Like on Monday when Triple H come out and like pulled them apart, and what have you, Brock still had to go and F5 one of the random refs that was walking around. He had to have like the last moment, the last say, and I just feel like he can't let somebody else over him. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's how I feel about Brock Lesnar, and that's why part of the reason why I don't like him. So in a world where Obafemi wins, yes, okay, that'd be amazing. But I just can't see it being Obafemi. I just think we're going to have a lot of suplexes, a lot of F5s, and just Brock Lesnar being Brock Lesnar.
See, I'm thinking the other way. I'm thinking maybe this week or next week on Raw, Brock will get the best of Obafemi, and kind of give a whole different shift with the way people are then looking at that match. I'm hoping it's not a 5-minute squash match. I'm hoping they actually have a decent fight, because should be good. But I think perhaps Obafemi will win it, and they'll push him like they did with Gunther. Have him win some big. Obviously, he went and had a big IC title reign, and then he won the world title, and then he just destroyed everyone. Maybe we get that bit of Obafemi where he gets Brock Lesnar, beats Brock Lesnar. Maybe at Backlash we get Obafemi Gunther or something like that, where it's another big guy that Obafemi could take out. Maybe then we look at Obafemi Drew McIntyre further down the line. That I think he gets a lot of the big boys in there and shows off his. He's an impressive talent. Show off his power and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Brock's in that final year, isn't he? So I don't know whether he's at a point of like, I want to win my last Mania, or is it he's just I don't give a crap. I'm leaving. Just let's push someone big.
Yeah.
I've seen a few talent that have said off camera and backstage, Brock Lesnar is all about helping the younger people and trying to help develop people. He's nothing like his actual character. Again, whether there's any truth in it or not, I've seen a few people say that like he is very good with the talent. So maybe this is just a Brock Lesnar character way of giving Obafemi that big push.
Maybe, hopefully.
Obviously, if he just have a quick 5-minute squash match, no one's going to be happy with that. But
no, of course they're not.
But yeah, who I think your prediction for who do you think is going to win, Seth or Gunther?
I don't know for that match because obviously this is the first we've heard of it and they don't really have much of a story behind it. So I mean, I'm gonna stick for Seth because he's my favourite out of the two. So
I'm going to say Seth only because I think the next, including this week, the 3 weeks of Raw are going to be just Gunter taking him out.
yeah,
And that'll be something that happens that costs him. Prediction for Brock and Over.
I'm gonna go Brock, but I want it to be over.
I'm going to go opposite again. I'm going to go over Femi. On to the next one, the final match that hasn't got a sanction or a title, which I'm kind of hoping the first way I'm going to say this is true. But I'm hoping it's Demon Finn Balor versus Dirty Dom Mysterio. But in general, Finn Balor, Dom Mysterio, obviously the eruption of Judgment Day the other week.
Yeah.
To be fair, I think quite a few of us saw this come in. Only difference is I saw this come in for WrestleMania, and I did it in our prediction video a couple of weeks ago, but I put it for the IC title.
But we've lost that now, haven't we? So
that's lost. But what are your thoughts on Finn Balor and Dom, and do you think we see the Demon?
Personally, no, I don't think we see the Demon. I've seen a lot of interviews where Finn said he wouldn't bring him back for unless absolutely necessary, he wouldn't bring him back. And I know people dwell on the fact that, but this is the right situation and things like that. But Finn says it's a lot of effort and it's a lot of work and it doesn't ever see the payoff that it needs. Like in several matches we've seen, like the WrestleMania match, was it the WrestleMania match with Edge? And that didn't go too well, did it? So
when he had a chair thrown at his head open.
Yeah, I feel like
Mania.
Pardon?
I was at that Mania.
Oh, was ya? Yeah. I feel like they just bury him every time they bring back the Demon. I was about to say the Fiend then. Don't ask me why I was going to say that. I've got Bray Wyatt on my mind, obviously. I just feel like the Demon doesn't get the justice that it deserves. And every time they bring it back, it gets buried. It gets the loss. And I don't know. I don't feel like I'd be excited if I saw it. So I'm going to just go for a Finn versus Dom. However, the match itself is a really hard situation for me because I am like Dominic Mysterio's biggest fan, and I'm also really a fan of Finn, like face Finn. I love face Finn. So it's a difficult situation for me to pick who I actually want to win. But do we see the Judgment Day getting involved on Dominic's side and costing Dominic, or do we see Finn bringing somebody out to help him? There's a lot of different situations and scenarios that could go here. I think I'm going to stick with my gut and Dominic Mysterio is going to win with help from JD.
That's a bit of an interesting one. See, I've reading like fans' ideas and what they want to see and stuff. I've seen someone say the other day, what if Dominic Mysterio just destroys Finn until Mania and keeps getting the best of Finn even? And that's where the change comes out, that we then get the Demon at WrestleMania and they finally get the Demon over. You're beating the biggest heel in the company.
Yeah.
You're finally going to be pushing Finn face, which everyone's been asking for a long time. And you bring back the Demon that gives that the push. I feel like potentially that could be right. Going off what you said about the Judgment Day helping, I think there could be a complete different storyline set out here.
Yeah.
I think Finn and Dom has to happen on the Sunday. And Stephanie and Liv has to happen on the Saturday.
Okay.
And I reckon Dom is going to cost Liv her match. And ultimately, Liv Morgan will team up with Finn Balor.
See, I know we haven't quite got to the Liv match yet. We might as well bring this into this because it's all Judgment Day themed, isn't it? So, because I have been under the illusion that Raquel is going to cost Liv her match with Stephanie McCall, because I feel like Raquel feels like she should have been in that position and it should be her opportunity. And Raquel, and there's been a lot of tension between like Raquel and Liv for weeks and weeks and weeks, and then they've kind of just become besties again, and it's kind of been pushed under the bridge, all that tension. And I'm like, well, in a world where the realistic of that tension and stuff, Raquel would help Liv but cost her, if that makes sense.
I've just had an absolute wonderful thought.
Mm.
What if it's not Raquel that costs her? What if it's Roxanne?
Ooh, interesting.
Because Roxanne wasn't there when they turned on Finn.
No.
But her and Finn used to talk and get
Yes.
along.
Because
So what if she's on Finn's side and she turns on Liv?
Finn was the one that brought Roxanne into it, wasn't he?
So what if we get that? Roxanne costs Dom on night 1. Night 2 is Liv and Steph. And she comes out with Liv and she's like, oh, I'm sorry, and all this backstage, and then costs Liv the match.
As well.
That'd
be interesting.
Going on to another match that's coming up, she could also cost JD McDonough the IC title in that ladder match.
Yeah.
And Roxanne Perez just destroys the Judgment Day with Finn Balor.
I like the idea of that.
Obviously, she come back on Raw, and obviously Raquel wasn't ringside when she come back, so Roxanne come out, and then her and Liv were like really close, and huggy and everything like that. So is this now going to be a ruse that Finn's called her back and gone, look, I need you to do this?
Yeah. Well, that's it. And like, because as we've seen, Finn brought Roxanne into the Judgment Day, but then ever since Liv came back, her and Roxanne have been like this. But that's why I thought Raquel, because she'd kind of been pushed to the side then since Roxanne. I don't know.
Raquel's a weird one at the moment because I would have thought I thought she would have been in like some sort of title match, maybe like a ladder match for the US Women's title. I'm absolutely off camera. That I'm surprised that hasn't been put on main. Obviously, we've got 2 SmackDowns where it could be. But there's not many stipulated matches, and the only big one is obviously the ladder match with the 5 of them. Which again, I think's weird. We'll get to it in a minute, but there's only 5 in a minute. Usually it's 6. So
yeah, I suppose as well. Sometimes they keep the tags and the mids for like the SmackDown and the Raw before and after because they've got to do something big on those just to equal out that WrestleMania weekend as well.
But I think that ruins it. I think have the SmackDown before should never be titles. You're going to have the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. It should be a couple promos building up or attacks building up that final match. And maybe we get a Sami Zayn US Open title match.
Yeah.
Just before. The Raw after 100% should be a big celebration for someone winning the title.
Yeah.
Which we'll come to later. Obviously, it could be like Roman Reigns or something. And then you get a big return there. And that's what everyone remembers the Raw after WrestleMania is. There's always a big return or two. No one cares about what title matches. Everyone just wants to know the return.
And I've got a very good name for that return.
Oh, we'll get to that bit in a bit because I've got a few names for a return on that Monday Night Raw. But we'll go on to the first sanction match I've got wrote down, which is kind of going to jump forward. I'll mix them around. We'll go on to the Intercontinental Championship ladder match. Penta, Javon Evans, Rusev, Dragon Lee, and JD McDonough. Again, I think WWE messed up when they put out the title match and the graphic, and then 3 hours later announced that tonight on main event these matches to see who faces Penta for the IC title.
Oh yeah.
And kind of messed up that who would win the matches. It's a bit of a weird one, as I said. Usually we get 6 people in a ladder match. The only thing that I potentially could see happening is a bit like the Matt Hardy return at 37. That John Cena, who, as we now know, is the host of WrestleMania, comes out and says there's going to be a 6th participant in this match. Before anyone says it, we know it's not going to be Chris Jericho. He's back in AEW. So do we potentially get Al Vikingo? Or if that's the guy that Penta got called out by on AAA the other week?
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
Do we potentially get AAA's involvement in WrestleMania that way?
Potentially. Or there could be an NXT call-up, or...
Just about to say that from NXT. There was a big championship match last night, and a certain man lost his title. Do we potentially get... I hope he doesn't appear, but do we get Joe Hendry in that IC title match?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
What are your thoughts on the 5 that have been selected in that match anyway, and then the idea of it potentially being 6?
I think the 5 that have been selected are pretty solid choices. I think they'll put. I am loving Javon Evans right now at the moment. He is really, really shining. And the rest of them just make sense, and they all work well together. They're all wrestlers that have really good chemistry within the ring, so I've no doubt it'll be a good match anyway. From watching like their singles and doubles
Yeah.
matches in the past, a lot of them are quite high flyers as well. So having them in like a ladder match, that'll make for a good match.
There's only really Rusev that isn't.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's only Rusev that isn't. However, I do think that maybe Kofi should have been in this match with the stuff that he has going on with like Javon and that. And Dragon Lee.
Do we potentially see Javon Evans win and then join New Day?
Wow, that was where I was going next. Realistically, I don't see Penta retaining here, and I would like to see Javon Evans win. That was what I was going with next. However, with him joining the New Day, if he was to join the New Day, I think Waller leaves. I don't think Waller stays.
Could Grayson Waller be that 6th person in the match and Javon costs Waller the title? Ultimately, then Kofi comes in the ring looking to square up to Evans and takes out Waller. And you set that up. The other option that we could have from this, which would be quite comical, would be JD to win it. And we return, obviously, to the Judgment Day of, I've won Dom's title.
Yeah.
And that could cause friction for the future. But like you said, I can't see anyone but Javon Evans walking away from that match as champion.
Yeah. It'll either be Penta that retains or Javon Evans.
Yeah. Or whoever the 6th person is comes in and wins it. If that's a surprise. If it's AAA, they come in, they do a few big moves. That's really it.
Yeah.
But I can't see anything but a Penta or Evans win. I want to see Evans win it just because I think as much as he's bouncy,
I think he really
as much as he's just bouncy, he is an incredible wrestler. And if he does his finisher off a ladder, we're in for a great shock. He's definitely hitting Rusev with that.
Yeah.
Rusev is unfortunately going to take a lot of the big moves in that match.
I think so, yeah. He's built to take those kind of moves though, so.
But I think you can't knock Dragon Lee either. The work he did with AJ Styles, he showed what he's got. And like you said, in that match, there's a lot of high flyers. And I think he's going to be one of them that's going to be flying around a lot. I have a feeling because he's like the small, skinny one out of all of them, I feel like he's going to be put through the ladder by Rusev.
Potentially.
Someone always goes through a ladder.
I wonder if we'll see like Penta, you know, like how they always put ladders on their edge, balancing on something. We'll see Penta do his like, and then his little walk along the ladder or something. That'd be pretty cool.
That would be incredible to see.
Yeah. And then do like a jump move off the end of the ladder or something.
Does his walk and then just jumps the ladder.
Yeah.
But no, I think we both agree that it's going to be a Penta or an Evans walk away from that.
Yeah.
Be very surprised if I see anything else. One match talking about people walking away from it that I don't think one of them's going to walk away from.
Oh, yes.
The unsanctioned match between Drew McIntyre and Jacob Fatu. Now,
as it stands right now, this is my favourite match on the entire card.
I was about to say that. This is going to be great because before this rivalry started, when Drew was having a Cody situation, just for last time, I weren't really into Drew McIntyre being at WrestleMania. Didn't really care for it. I thought it'd be a triple threat match or a fatal 4-way with Randy in it for the title. Then they had a 3.5-hour fight on SmackDown last week, which ended with them falling off Massive Tower. And I went to my partner, well, that's going to be an epic match at WrestleMania. She's like, it's not even been announced yet. Then it got announced.
Like, we knew it was coming.
That's going to be epic. Then they went one step further of going unsanctioned. Now, these two are going to be able to completely lose their mind.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised if there is some sort of cage introduced into this.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we get a steel cage or a Hell in a Cell brought into it.
See, I would have liked it. I was saying to my other half at first that I think it'll end up being like some kind of a cage match to keep them in one place. But I like the idea of this unsanctioned match because they can literally go everywhere and literally do anything and literally beat the crap out of each other. So
Yeah.
I do think that is better than the cage match.
Yeah. The other option this could bring in is this could be the start of the bloodline coming back together. Now, obviously, we had a conversation about Solo and what happened on SmackDown. I said that it could potentially be the start of Tama Tonga and the MFTs turning on Solo, and after WrestleMania, we see the bloodline come back, but with Jacob Fatu. Now, potentially, if something happens on SmackDown between the MFTs and Solo, do we see maybe Tama Tonga try and get involved in the match on Drew's behalf, and then we get Solo supporting Jacob? Or is this just going to be between these two, or do we see anyone else getting involved in this match?
I personally wouldn't want anybody else to get involved. I think I just want them to fight it out till the end. Like, yeah.
Yeah. I can't see that. I feel like there's got to be something where Drew McIntyre's caused a lot of trouble with a lot of people online.
Yeah.
There's going to be something that's going to happen that's going to cost him that match because they need something for him to bitch about on social media for the next.
Well, this is it as well. And like Drew McIntyre doesn't really have anybody on his side at the moment. Whereas, okay, Jacob has probably annoyed a lot of people as well, but he does have like his entire family, most of his family in that company as well, with like the Bloodline, Roman, Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso, Solo, etc. All the MFTs, they're all there, so they could potentially get involved.
I could see a certain Celtic Warrior returning to back Drew.
That would absolutely make my entire weekend because I love Sheamus so much.
Or I know that they're no longer employed with WWE, but could be the big shock of WrestleMania. What if we got Gallus that come back and help Drew, and they were just
are they anywhere doing anything?
I think they're just on indie scenes.
Oh, okay.
I've seen Mark Coffey's on quite a few different things at the moment, so I'm assuming they're just on an indie scene, not on a set show.
Yeah.
Maybe we get Gallus come back and Drew McIntyre leads like a Scottish, what are they called?
Faction.
Yeah, Scottish faction that they just take over.
We're going to throw Joe Hendry into that as well, yeah.
That's not a bad shout, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we get Drew McIntyre, Joe Hendry, and Sheamus. But there could be. I think Drew McIntyre's got those kind of people in his corner that could potentially help. I can't really think of anyone else who's had an issue with Jacob Fatu. The only storylines I can think of recently are
Cody, isn't it?
Cody, Drew, and
Sammy.
Solo.
Yeah.
So, but that would be a good match. Who do you think wins that match, and how do you think they win?
I don't know. I with everything I've been seeing like the past couple of weeks with them going at each other all the time, I don't think I have a clear winner in my head at the moment. Like, I absolutely love Drew and I absolutely love Jacob as well. And I really think it will be the match of the weekend. I really do. However, I don't think I have an opinion on who I want to win yet. I don't think I can give you one.
I have read a few things that apparently Drew McIntyre is not out of contract, but is looking to leave WWE after WrestleMania.
Oh, okay.
Maybe that could be the final nail in the coffin of Jacob winning. Yeah. If that's a Sunday match and Cody Randy's on a Saturday, maybe we get Cody involved and Cody comes out to help one of them. Or just comes out and destroys them both and they get a double knockout. Could be interesting there. On to the next one is a match that I'm sure you will have a lot of opinions on. There's definitely a woman in this match that I really, really like. But we'll go on to the women's tag team championship match between Lash Legend and Nia Jax versus Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair. Bailey and Lyra Valkyria, and the Bellas. What are your, as a big Brie Bella fan and Bella fan in general, what are your thoughts on this one?
The Bellas are coming out of this champions.
They've got to, haven't they?
Yeah, I think so. I think who's got it now? Lash and Nia have got them now. Yeah.
Yeah. One of them gets buried under a table.
Yeah. I think the Bellas come out of this. The whole reason they've brought Brie back is for the Bellas to be the Bellas.
Yeah.
So if they're not going to give them gold, then what was the point in that? So I can't. There's no way I can see any of the other teams coming out of this other than the Bellas as champions.
The only team I could see potentially other team coming out of this as champions would be Baylor and Valkyria.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, I feel so. This is now the second year in a row that Bayley and Valkyria are meant to team at WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Bayley turns on Lyra in the match and just leaves
her. In the match, yeah.
Or do we get Charlotte turning on Alexa in the match?
Potentially, we could get one of those. I think either one would be fine because, I mean, Charlotte and Alexa have been tagging for quite a while now, so I wouldn't be opposed to Charlotte. It will inevitably be Charlotte that turns. I think they could both manage and go back to singles matches, which wouldn't be a problem. It has been really refreshing, I have to say, watching Charlotte do something other than chasing that main event title. Yeah. Because I am not a big Charlotte fan, and I never have been a big Charlotte fan because of the way she acts of the me. I just don't like it. And I think watching her tag with Alexa and doing something different, it's really refreshed me on her entire character. And I have really been enjoying watching them recently. So she has grown on me a little bit recently. But I do inevitably think that they will split and go back to singles matches, which is fine because that's what they were built to do, you know. Yeah. And there is a good few tag teams within the women's tag team division at this very point in time. I do think Lyra and Bayley will carry on for a little bit longer because they've only just really started. We haven't really seen much of that Bayley's personality thing that they brought in. It hasn't really done anything for a few weeks that I haven't noticed anyway.
Lyra's not slapping her to get her in character anymore.
No. But I do personally think that maybe Charlotte will turn on Alexa. I think Bayley and Lyra will go for a bit longer now. I do think Charlotte may potentially turn at WrestleMania, if not just after, at the cause of they lost. So now she needs to go and do whatever she needs to do. But I do inevitably think the Bellas come out of this champions.
Yeah, I agree with you where I think the Bellas come out of champions. Obviously other opinion would be I don't think it's Charlotte that's going to turn.
Oh, really?
No. So I think they've built Charlotte. The reason I read that they put Charlotte and Alexa together was they wanted to get Charlotte over with the crowd as a face. But because of her me attitude that you said, no one wanted to. So they put her with Alexa, who's a massive face. Now, for me, Alexa's best work in the industry was when she was heel. Now, I would not be opposed against Alexa turning on Charlotte, them having a couple matches that ends at Backlash or something, with Alexa coming out as the winner. Charlotte's still your face, Alexa's still your heel. But then Alexa going and getting the US women's title and taking out Julia or something like that.
Yeah, that'd be a big swerve because I imagine a lot of people expect it to be Charlotte. Like I said, I expect it to be Charlotte to be the one to turn. So that would be a big swerve. And I think it would be a good swerve because nobody would see it coming. So, yeah.
They always want these shocking moments. And I personally think that is one that you could have.
Yeah, definitely.
Because if you look at the way that most of their promos go as well, Charlotte's trying to make the happy moment of, it's about us, about us. And Alexa's always seen it rolling her eyes or looking like she's fed up of this type of Charlotte. And I know, obviously, they're trying to build the storyline of Alexa, trying to help Charlotte become a better person. So does she help Charlotte become a better person, ultimately to do to Charlotte what Charlotte would have done to her originally?
Yeah, potentially.
And obviously reverse the roles around. So I do agree, though. I think the Bellas come out of that as champions with Alexa and Charlotte splitting. I can't see much happening with Lash and Jax. I feel like either they go back for a title rematch at Backlash, or it'll just be they just carry on doing what they're doing, which is irrelevant to anyone. No one really cares about them. I think Lash could have a really good future. I just don't think it should be with Nia Jax as her partner.
No, I think they'll probably inevitably all tag teams split eventually, but I think it was a good way to bring it into the main roster. So
bit weird though the way they brought her in, because obviously 3 or 4 weeks prior, Lash Legend and Nia Jax had a match on NXT.
Yeah,
and then all of a sudden
Lash was with what's her face in Metaphor, wasn't
Cara
she?
Jackson, weren't she?
Yeah.
But on to another one of your favourites. Now, I don't know. I have a feeling which way you're going to go on this one, but I also don't know how you're going to go on this one. But the Women's Intercontinental Championship match.
Don't.
Not Alexa Bliss, AJ Lee, and your obvious favourite, if you've watched our video with G before, she talks about how Becky Lynch got her into wrestling. So what are your thoughts on AJ Lee and Becky Lynch?
Obviously, I'm very, very excited for this match. I hate saying this. I can't see Becky winning this match. AJ's just won the bout. I think she's got quite a while in her. I think there's other people that obviously. So, in my eyes, yes, okay, Becky wins, it's amazing. AJ wins, it's also amazing. But we've seen Becky fight so many people on the roster that Becky winning that belt back doesn't do her a big favour. And we know her and Seth are slowly dwindling down their time because Becky she's ready to go. She is going within the next couple of years. She wants to leave and go and raise her child and family stuff. That's what she's said in multiple interviews. So I don't see her winning would help her massively. And in my eyes, AJ Lee has got a lot of people on that roster that she's never wrestled. She wants to wrestle. They want to wrestle her. And that's why I think AJ will be the one to win, because then she's got this abundance of people on the roster that she can then go and face as well. Obviously, we've got Becky AJ because that's the feud that's been going since AJ returned. And we do want to see this match at WrestleMania. I want to see this match at WrestleMania, even though we've already seen them fight a few times. I'm never opposed to seeing them fight again. But I do think AJ walks out of this still as champion. With Becky's career the way it's going to be, she is going to leave. And AJ, like I said, has got all those people that want to face her in the locker room.
Yeah, I think AJ's got a lot of dream matches that people would want. That I think ultimately are going to have to happen. And I don't think they happen if she loses the IC title. I think if she loses the IC title at WrestleMania, ultimately that's a big flop because you've brought her back just to lose at her first big WrestleMania back.
Yeah, exactly.
The other reason I want AJ to win is because getting to Monday Night Raw, I think we get the same as what we got 12 years ago, was it? 13 years ago? I think we get the return of Paige coming out.
I'm not holding my breath.
To challenge AJ Lee.
I'm not.
Now, I got a friend who went to For the Love of Wrestling in Manchester in February, I think it was, that spoke with Paige and basically said to her, is there any chance of you returning the Raw after WrestleMania? And all she said was, I can't disclose that with you. Laughed and walked off.
But wrestlers are so good at
they are really good.
The thing is with Paige, and she does it all the time, like at Royal Rumble, just before Royal Rumble, she was dropping all these things on social media, knowing she wasn't even going, because that's how they make themselves relevant again. Not that she isn't ever relevant, girl. If you ever see this Paige, you know I love you. You're my absolute queen. Kisses and kisses. We're basically best friends, but that's how they keep themselves in the loop and talked about. Because they post things to start them rumours.
100%. I just personally think if you bring in Paige back, and if they're going to bring her back as Soraya, however you bring her back, AJ Lee needs to be in that ring on the Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania, and that screech needs to happen because there is no more perfect
I've got
way of doing
many
that.
goosebumps thinking about it.
Even if you just have Paige come out, doesn't challenge for a match there and then. Like, obviously,
just stares her down and walks off.
For anyone who's been under a cave, when Paige originally debuted on Raw, she came out and challenged AJ Lee come out to say congratulations, didn't she? And AJ Lee was like, "How about we have a match 1-on-1? I'll even put the title on the line." Ultimately, Paige walked away with the title.
Yeah.
But if that was to happen again, would we see a panicked AJ Lee on the basis of I've won a title at Mania or kept my title at Mania again, only to be faced by Paige?
I don't know.
I think Becky Lynch, and I'm going to say this in the best way because I know she's one of your favourites, she's boring me now. It's the same character over and over and over and over again. Doesn't seem to change. And when she does try and change it, it doesn't seem to work.
She doesn't work as a heel for me.
No, I think AJ Lee wins. Becky will go now into some mental state where she'll just kick off on social media. Maybe we get a draft not long after Backlash or WrestleMania that ultimately sees her go and get away from Jessica Carr and AJ Lee. And maybe we get Becky Lynch versus Jessica Carr and Jessica Carr debuts. But I'm the same as you. I can't see anything other than an AJ Lee win. From that, next we've got the US Championship, which is a bit of a weird situation. How this one's come around for me: Sami Zayn versus Trick Williams.
Sami
Zayn defeating Carmelo Hayes last week in the Open Challenge to win the title, and then defeating him again on SmackDown, which I'm hoping's a work, but it looked like Carmelo got really hurt in that match.
Oh, really?
There's a moment where he dives out the ring and seems to like smash his knee on the floor, and then he really struggles after. So I'm hoping it's not an injury and it's a play, and maybe he comes out at WrestleMania and makes it a triple threat.
Yeah.
But what are your thoughts on Sami Zayn and Trick Williams?
I was confused because I thought we were going to get Carmelo versus Trick. And I was really excited for that and ready for that. And then out of nowhere, Sami challenges and wins. My words after watching Sami win were like, what the actual is going on here? Because when we were last watching Sami backstage and stuff, he was all involved in the Cody stuff, the Randy stuff, the Drew stuff, that world title scene. And I was like, why has he now been dropped back down to win the US title and nothing else has happened in the other situation? Like, in my eyes, it's we need Sami on the Mania card. How do we put him on there? Oh, let's just give him the US title. And literally like 2 weeks before Mania, and I was really confused, and I don't understand how we came to this decision or how they came to this decision. And don't get me wrong, I'm happy for Sami, whatever, but I really did think we were going to get Trick versus Carmelo.
We did our prediction videos about a month ago. I actually had the US title to be defended like the IC title is in a ladder match.
Oh, yeah.
Where I thought we would have Sami, Dragunov, Trick, Carmelo, maybe LA Knight thrown in there. And ultimately Trick Williams would walk away with the title, which would then lead on to the feud of Trick and Carmelo. I remember watching their feuds in NXT and they were incredible. So seeing that on the main roster for US Championship would make sense. I think they've kind of fumbled it with Sami and didn't quite know what to do. So they went, oh shit, let's just stick a title on him.
Yeah.
Stick him in that match. What they should have done is had Trick Williams maybe cost Sami that match against Carmelo. And you leave that up to be a triple threat match. Because you could then have Sami Zayn can't get the job done in big matches. But you'd have Trick Williams ultimately pin Carmelo Hayes. So Sami didn't directly lose the match, but still is in that title line that people keep putting him under as can't get the job done. Which ultimately then you could then push him on still to the world title of, well, I never lost at Mania because I weren't the one that got pinned. But I feel like they have absolutely, excuse my French, but shit the bed with it and gone, what do we do with Sami Zayn? Because we've got a whole WrestleMania event coming up where we have nowhere for him.
Yeah.
Maybe we get a Carmelo involvement in Trick's favour.
I hope so.
This is also the one match on the whole card. Maybe Drew Jacob it could be, but I'm thinking this match, the whole card. If we're to get any sort of Kevin Owens return, it would be him in the front of the crowd watching this match, Sammy lose, and then him kind of being there to support Sammy, but then ultimately being like,
I think that that is the only situation where we do see a Kevin Owens at this WrestleMania in any point is something to do with crowd involvement, because I don't think he's medically cleared to wrestle yet.
Unless he comes out and just does a promo.
Yeah, I do miss him. He's one of my favourites, always has
We've
been.
also got to think about one thing that I mentioned it earlier, but we haven't really spoke about, is we've got John Cena hosting WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Anything could happen because, let's be honest, Triple H or anyone, no one's going to tell him how to run WrestleMania. He's going to run it how he wants. If he wants to bring back a surprise, he'll be like, I need a promo at this point, and we'll bring people back. So, Kevin Owens could maybe also come back Cody and Randy. There's obviously the history there with both of those. But with the Sami Zayn, Trick Williams, I feel like if he's going to be in the crowd, maybe with Sammy's wife, maybe we get Trick Williams going up and goading him, and he ultimately punches Trick Williams, and Sammy still can't get the job done or something like that. But I can't see Trick not walking away from that match United States champion. I feel like that has to be where WWE goes. And maybe we get a Carmelo involvement or Carmelo added to the match that ultimately then lines up Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes, because I think that's what a lot of WWE fans at the moment want to see, is that match.
Yeah, definitely.
On to our big four. So the one that I think is most randomest at the moment that's happening: Jade Cargill, Rhea Ripley, Women's WWE Championship.
Yeah, so I was really confused on the whole Meechin and B-Fab whole situation, and it is what it is. If they need to help Jade elevate, then if that's how they're going to do it. It was nice to see B-Fab in the ring the other week, even if it was only for a few minutes. It was nice to see her actually wrestling. I do think Rhea takes the win here. Don't get me wrong, I do like Jade. I just don't think WWE know what to do with her. If you watch her in WWE and then go watch her from AEW, they're two completely different people. And I don't think WWE know what to do with her, which is odd because they have Rhea, which is similar kind of, I'm a well-built kind of person, and they do her really well. But I'm not sure that they knew what to do with Jade, because she took that belt, she didn't defend it for weeks, and then she just come out and said, I'm that bitch, and then walked off every week. And I'm just like, I'm not enjoying this whatsoever. I do think Rhea takes the win here. I think if there is a return here that I would like to see, no matter who wins, Jade or Bianca, Jade or Rhea, I would like to see Bianca return. If it's not at WrestleMania, maybe on the Raw or the SmackDown after, depending on who wins. If Rhea wins, we may see it on the Raw. If Jade wins, we may see it on the SmackDown. But I would like to see Bianca return to face whoever wins out of those two.
I was just about to say this. Do we potentially get B-Fab and Mitch in, try and get involved, and ultimately we then hear the hair whip?
Yeah, potentially,
and maybe help Rhea. The other thing is saying, you're talking about them shit in the bed with Jade. Now, when she first come to WWE, if you remember, she was in the Royal Rumble, and they've pretty much done the same with Royce Keys at the moment, Powerhouse Hobbs, what you want to call him, where he come out in the Royal Rumble, hasn't been since. Apparently he's been on a few main events. He was seen at AJ Styles' retirement thing in the ring, but he hasn't wrestled the main roster. Now, I know with Jade, it was because they wanted to build her promo character up because she was awful at promos and they wanted to make her so she was WWE ready. But it makes me wonder, was Bianca return obviously was delayed? Was Bianca meant to be the WrestleMania opponent for Jade?
Potentially, because obviously we had Bianca, Jade, and Naomi. They were doing their thing. And then obviously Naomi got pregnant and Bianca got injured. So obviously things split up there, even though they weren't quite together then. That changed that storyline. But it potentially could have been that's what they were gunning for.
Yeah, I have a feeling that Bianca was either meant to win the Rumble or the Chamber. Maybe return at the Rumble, then win the Chamber. And they were going to have Jade and Bianca. I also have a feeling from Rhea's reaction that she was under the influence that Tiffany Stratton was going to win the Chamber. And we were going to have Tiffy have her rematch for the title that she never got to have a rematch for against Jade at WrestleMania. Because obviously she put out the tweet that weren't so popular that it was like not happy or not having fun. But that was aimed at WWE higher ups because she's obviously enjoying what was going on with Io Sky. Potentially, that, like you said, we get that involvement in that match. I can't see Jade winning.
No.
But the other option that we've also got is maybe Mitchin and BFAB, who are trying to make this power happy people with Jade Cargill, the Powerpuff Girls. Maybe they turn on Jade because obviously they had beef with her before they teamed with her.
Yeah,
maybe
exactly. That's why I was
ultimately
so confused.
Yeah, maybe it's only a quick little stunt to try and trip people, and they ultimately just turn on Jade and give her a storyline after WrestleMania.
Yeah, could be.
But I think Rhea walks away with that one. Something's going to happen in that. I think we've said about an involvement in every match, but there's going to be a
an
lot
opportunity for an involvement in every match.
Maybe we get Snoop Dogg in that match. He's going to appear at WrestleMania at some point, isn't he? Snoop Dogg or Stone Cold, one or the other.
Yeah. What?
Going on now to the WWE Championship. Obviously, we've briefly spoke about it, but Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton, I'm very much liking where this storyline's going.
Yeah.
Obviously, SmackDown was announced that Pat McAfee was the secret guy on the phone.
Yeah.
Again, don't think that makes any sense to anyone right now.
No.
But what are your thoughts on that match?
I am liking the build around this match. I thought it was gonna be like a friend versus friend match, but somebody always says there has to be a face and there has to be a heel. Now I don't mind when it's two faces or two heels going at each other. I think sometimes when it's two heels going at each other, it makes for a really good match because they really, really, really hate each other and it's good, but inevitably one of them was going to turn, and I think everybody was hoping it was going to be Cody. A lot of the things I was reading online were saying this is it, Cody's going to turn, we're going to get Homelander Cody and things like that, and then it was Randy, and now I always thought it was going to be Randy that returned because he is the sort of person, like his snaky character to do that.
Nothing beats 09 heel Randy.
Yeah, exactly. And when he did turn, when they were doing the contract signing and he absolutely beat the crap out of Cody, I was like, this is good. And then he'd cut all them promos and you thought he was going to turn back when he was apologising to Matt Cardona, and then he just beat the crap out of Matt Cardona. And I'm really enjoying the build on this. I am. I think it's going to be a good match. Who walks out champion? I think it'll be Randy.
Now, I know you haven't watched SmackDown this week. We're having a conversation. Watching little highlights and stuff. In Cody's promo after McAfee comes out, he does mention about dyeing his hair brown and becoming the heel. And his promo kind of was a fuck you to everyone. That if you want me to be a heel, I will be a heel. But I've got shit to do. Like people, I think it's along the lines of he says, people ask me why I don't turn heel, why I don't dye the hair brown and don't go out in the dark clothing and the red logo. And he goes, it's because I'm scared. I don't know how to.
Oh, really?
So maybe this match ultimately leads to Randy pulling the heel out of Cody.
Oh, okay.
And maybe we get Cody snap at WrestleMania
Yeah.
and destroy Randy in a match in the main event,
Yeah.
ultimately celebrating, and then maybe just absolute fucking annihilates Pat McAfee after.
Maybe.
And ultimately
I've spoke to a few people about like the whole Cody situation a few times, and it's the similar situation to John Cena. Like John Cena is so over with the kids, the younger generation. Cody is in that same situation where the kids love him, the younger generation love him, and turning him heel might inevitably not work like John Cena. It didn't. Obviously, us as an older generation, we saw why it happened and how it happened, and we kind of enjoyed it because we've never known John Cena as anything else than John Cena. But the younger, the kids, they don't understand as much why these things happen. And when John Cena turned heel, the kids were like shocked. They didn't know what to do, and they still cheered him. And it didn't work. And I think that's something that also scared with Cody because he's over with that younger generation, the kids. If they turn him heel, is it going to work?
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from. The other option you've got in that match, and bringing it back to him again, is Cody's biggest rival in the last couple of years and Randy's biggest rival of his whole career is John Cena.
Yeah.
John Cena ultimately is hosting WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Is there a way that John Cena gets involved in this, even if it's special guest referee, and ultimately goes away of just being involved in the match? Or is there something that can happen here where people are all cheering for Cody, Randy's about to punt him or something, and John Cena ultimately comes out, saves him, and does the big heel thing that we all expect John Cena to do? But
yeah, I don't know.
Both of them have a big history with John Cena, and it could be that. It could be maybe we don't get John Cena as a face. We had a really poor heel run last year. Maybe they turn him heel the correct way this year, and we get a heel manager John Cena.
Yeah.
But what are you saying, Randy Orton to walk away with that champion, 15-time champion?
So, yeah, I think so.
I feel really harsh done for Cody because apart from WrestleMania 40, I think he's lost every title match at WrestleMania. But ultimately, I do think Randy Orton walks away 15-time champion.
Yeah.
And I think there's a bit of a situation that happens here. Randy becomes 15. And John Cena's going to know that. John Cena always said, I want to be here to shake the hand of the guy that becomes 18.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I think Randy Orton's the guy that gets 18. And I think he gets it by the end of this year. Because all it takes, Randy to win at Mania, lose at Backlash, rematch at the PLE after, win it again. Maybe you keep it to SummerSlam, lose at SummerSlam, get it back the next PLE. You then go into Survivor Series with him losing the title just before, rematch at Survivor Series, ultimately he wins it again. That's 3 title reigns. That's 15, 16, 17, and 18.
Potentially.
And John Cena could be there to be like, oh, where's 18? Or does he get to 17 and ultimately have that moment where he officially says, I am the greatest member of Evolution, because Ric Flair was the greatest because he was a 16-time world champion. Yeah. I'm now a 17-time world champion. I am the greatest. They all doubted me, etc.
But can we leave Ric Flair out of it? Don't bring him anywhere near it.
keep him having another heart attack or whatever he's doing nowadays. Keep him in AEW. Because the last thing we need is Charlotte Flair removing the word Flair again and becoming Charlotte because she doesn't have anything to do with her dad. Final 2 matches. We'll go with the Women's World Championship first. I know we had a brief conversation earlier. Stephanie Vicaire versus Liv Morgan. What are your thoughts for that?
So the way I see the WrestleMania matches is, I don't know why I always look at them this way, is for the 4 big titles, one wins, one loses. So someone retains and someone loses. And that's the way I've always seen it. So in my eyes, if Jade Cargill's dropping the belt to Rhea, then Stephanie Vicare's walking away retaining. And that's how I always look at it. It never always works out like that, but that's how I always do my predictions. So because you can't have all 4 titles dropped. Somebody has to retain somewhere. So that's why I'm going for Stephanie McCourt to retain. And I want Stephanie McCourt to retain. I do like Liv. I'm not her biggest fan. I can't say that I absolutely adore her. I do have enjoyed her work more recently than a few years ago. She does grow on me. But I prefer Stephanie in this situation.
I think I'm with you there. I think Steph wins on the basis of, like we mentioned earlier, I think there's a Raquel, a Roxanne, or
something's gonna go
Dom
down.
or someone like that. Someone's gonna get involved. Because Judgment. I think this is the ultimate WrestleMania. Is the complete end of Judgment Day. I think it completely implodes on itself. It's the end. Maybe after it, we end up with just Dom and Liv as a couple. That's it as it is. One of my friends said, it'd be interesting what your thoughts are. If Dominic Mysterio turns on Liv Morgan and ends up walking away with Stephanie Vaquer as his new girlfriend, does he automatically get into the Hall of Fame? The fact that he's had Stephanie Vaquer, Liv Morgan, and Rhea Ripley, 3 of the best women of our time, to do it. He's had the 3 of them and managed to convince all 3 of them to back him. Does he have to go into the Hall of Fame as the greatest Mysterio ever? That he's managed to get them 3 to back him. And I was like, I totally agree, because if he manages to get Stephanie to turn on Liv and back him, like the guy's great. Like I don't like him because I'm not meant to like him.
No.
But ultimately, I think Steph wins that and walks away. Maybe Dom leaves Liv because she can't get the job done at Mania or something like that. Obviously, like we said, we've got Finn Balor and Dom having a match. You've got JD in a title match.
Yeah.
You've got Liv Morgan match. You haven't got Raquel or Roxanne doing anything. So I feel like there's got to be somewhere they get involved.
Yeah. I think Roxanne comes out with Liv for this match. I do.
I think she does, but I think ultimately she turns in that match.
Yeah.
And you get Roxanne, who's just turned. I know she was heel anyway, but had that big heel return of getting involved and attacking Steph the other day. I think then ultimately you have her do something on Raw or the Raw after next week, the Raw before Mania. Sorry. You have her do something again, which is attacking Stephanie to kind of get people going, oh, she's bad. And then at WrestleMania on the biggest stage, you have her turn on Liv. Yeah. She automatically goes face. And then that leads a little rivalry between them. And then ultimately comes Money in the Bank. Roxanne could win Money in the Bank and ultimately cash in later on in the year or gets a SummerSlam match against Stephanie or whoever. But I think Stephanie Vaquer walks away. And then you just said 2 things. One, you normally have a face versus a heel. And 2, when one title drops, the other one stays. So now going on to our final match.
Oh, can I just say something about Roxanne before we move away? This is really, really, really selfish of me, but I really do want Roxanne to move away from the Judgment Day because her remix theme is really winding me up because she has one of the best themes in the entire company, the original NXT version of her theme. And I just wanted to have that back because that mixed Judgment Day version, it just annoys me so much.
I think all of them's like having that mixed version. Like Finn Balor had that mixed version of Judgment Day. Didn't like it. I prefer the old one. Dom's Judgment Day one, I don't like it. So totally agree. I think Roxanne would be better off. And if she goes back to that music,
please don't Death Rebel. Please don't Death Rebel.
bring back the proper Prodigy music. But on that final match, we have a face versus a face in the 2 of them. Don't know who you could call the heel in the situation.
I don't
know.
But
going off your basis of Randy Orton winning the WWE Championship, does that mean you think CM Punk walks away?
Tell me what you think.
CM Punk versus Roman Reigns. This is, I said earlier about the Drew McIntyre Jacob.
Yeah.
Because of what's been happening for the fight wise, really excited for that one. This one for the whole storyline going on right now is probably the most exciting match going into WrestleMania. So obviously, being a big Punk fan, clearly.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on CM Punk Roman Reigns?
I've really been enjoying the build to this match. I thought it was a bit stale at first, but then they started those weekly promo battles. The weekly promos were really good. They were really getting under each other's skin. Then the Usos got involved, and I was a bit like, do we need this? Because Roman doesn't ever really fight on his own. He always has someone behind him. And then that just put that into the works that Roman can't do this on his own again. And that's the kind of thing they were going with. And then the past couple of weeks, they've kind of just come out and beat the shit out of each other. So there hasn't been much development other than they want to beat the shit out of each other. But I am enjoying where this is going. However, I'm not enjoying the fact that everybody online is saying that Roman Reigns is going to win this match, because I don't think he will. I genuinely think CM Punk is going to retain here. Whether I think inevitably Jey Uso is going to absolutely crash out in some sort of a way. That heel Jey Uso is coming out more and more every week, whether he turns on Roman, whether he turns on Jimmy, whether he just turns on everybody. I do see something coming out there, but I don't know. Everybody is convinced online that Roman is winning this match, but I'm just gonna stick to my gut and I'm gonna stay behind CM Punk.
So I think Phil is going to win. I'm not saying that because I know he hates being called Phil. And I think Roman Reigns, when you look at their promos, Roman Reigns just keep calling him Phil, even though he's like, the name's not Phil. It is. But Phil's his government name. He's like, don't use my government name. He's like, all right, Phil, calm down.
Yeah.
Their promos are the best. They remind me of like old school Cena promos. They just rinse each other. I think CM Punk is probably the best guy on the microphone in WWE history.
It really is.
The fact that the first promo they had together, he tells him he's going to bury him next to his dad, and
it's got really personal. It was really personal.
You're sitting there like, oh my god, like mental. How can you say something like, oh my god, The Rock's going to get involved and all this? And then I thought it was a bit terrible that Roman Reigns' return to him was, oh, you're old, and I was like, there's 7 years between you both. Like, it's not like there's 20 years. It's not like it's Javon Evans and CM Punk having a chat. There's 7 years between you. Yes, okay, he's old. He's 47, 48. But ultimately, that to cause a commotion and for CM Punk to punch him over that, I was like, that's kind of a bit of petty. Like, shows that Roman Reigns maybe hasn't got the mic skills that he used to have because he hasn't got Paul Heyman in his ear.
Wow, that's it.
The other thing that I've seen is if you watch Raw, not this week, the week before, when Roman destroys CM Punk, ultimately Jey gives that order.
Yes, I forgot about that. Oh my god, yes, I haven't spoke to people about this.
I seen someone put up the other day that said their dream situation would be CM Punk to win at WrestleMania. And on the Raw after Mania, the Usos basically kind of corner Roman Reigns in the ring and was like, you can't get the job done. You're no longer the tribal chief. If you can't do this, you can't do that kind of thing. And ultimately that they make Jey the tribal chief and he then turns to his prime Roman era. There's a lot of ways they could go. Maybe that we had a conversation about the bloodline coming back together earlier. Maybe that they come back together, but with Jey Uso running the bloodline rather than Roman. We could potentially still see Sammy in it, and Sammy has a different attitude as a heel rather than the comedy fun side of Sammy we had before. I think this match has the out of all the matches that haven't got one, I think this is the one match that potentially they get a stipulation added. More than likely is going to be like a Bloodline Rules match or something like that. But yeah, I'm with you. I don't see Roman Reigns winning it. I don't want him to win it because I like the idea that CM Punk defends the title as much as he does.
Yes.
He's on TV every week, and that's all we ever want is, as much as everyone complains about Cody doing it now, ultimately all everyone ever wants is the titles being defended. And we spoke about it before where our generation, obviously you joined a lot later than what I was watching it. But when I watched it in the early 2000, like 2000 to 2010s, every champion defended their title within 30 days. If you didn't defend your title, you lost the title. I'd like to see that come back, so we get all the titles running, rather than Roman Reigns win at WrestleMania and that's then not defended till like SummerSlam, and that's 3-4 months down the line.
Because that's boring and people don't want to see that. The whole reason they watch is to see those bouts defended and sit in that moment every week of, will they lose it? Will they retain? That's what people want.
Look at the hype that social media had before the match in Belfast between Punk and Balor.
Yeah.
That got everyone excited. And then you go to Elimination Chamber and they have the second match. Again, everyone got excited because it was something different. I feel like if you got Punk as champion, you have people like Sami Zayn, Trick Williams, the Pentas, Javons, JDs, Finn and Dom. He'll have matches with all the Seth Rollins, the Gunters. You can have matches with all those and just defend the title. And ultimately, you've got a few of those that could potentially win the title, defend it against him, and build off and different ways that they could go with it. So I think the right option is to give CM Punk the title. But let's be honest, Triple H doesn't always go with the right option.
No.
And the final point we'll get on, I read obviously there was due to be 14 matches across WrestleMania. We always tend to get a celebrity match, so that would be 14 matches without that. Usually it's Snoop Dogg or an NFL star or something like that getting involved. But one celebrity match that potentially could happen, which they seem to now be teasing the storyline, would be LA Knight iShow Speed. Obviously, anyone keeping it on social media knows that iShow Speed has been training in the Performance Center with Randy Orton, Sheamus, Finlay, Matt Bloom. There's a few others that he's been really, really trying hard. Been doing a few LFG matches when The Undertaker's around and getting some advice off him. So he's been doing a lot to try and get into the industry. You've also got Jelly Roll. They've been teasing Jelly Roll and Kit Wilson. Whether that happens on WrestleMania, it just seems weird that there's no even like shout for it at the moment or hype for it, even though everyone was wanting it, and then also it happened on SmackDown, everyone stopped. There is Oscar and Io Sky. That could potentially be a turning for Kyrie, really. She could ultimately turn on Oscar in that match. People like Tiffany Stratton, haven't seen her on SmackDown for weeks, hasn't even been spoken about for WrestleMania. Julia.
Didn't she have she had a match with Julia, didn't she?
Like 2-3 weeks ago.
I don't know.
Yeah. But Julia, again, not been mentioned for a WrestleMania match. Kiana James, not been mentioned for a WrestleMania match. There's a lot of people. You mentioned them earlier. New Day, Kofi Kingston.
New Day,
hasn't been mentioned for a match. You've got El Grande Americanos, both of them. Everyone thought they'd have a mask versus mask match at WrestleMania.
I thought we'd have a mask off match, like a sort of loser takes off their mask.
There's a lot going on at the moment, and there's a few. So we've got 2 weeks, as we worked out earlier, 13 days till WrestleMania Night 1. I can't imagine there being more than 8 matches maximum per night. Last year, it was an 8 and a 7. Year before, it was an 8 and a 7.
They can't have too many because then when they're cutting time, they end up cutting matches, well, not shortening matches, and I hate that. And you can kind of tell when a match has when you're watching it, you can kind of tell if a match has been cut.
Yeah, because it's very like random, and it also be like, okay, that's it. Like Gunter's matches used to be the ones you used to be able to tell the most, because it'd be like they're having a proper wrestling match, then all of a sudden randomly, picked them up, powerbomb, match
and
is
it's
over.
Win. Yeah, that's it.
Rhea
when
Ripley's
you get to
was
a
the
point,
same. Where when it gets to the point where they're like, it's a good match. Okay.
When it's they're like in the middle of their match and it's the prime and you think, it's going to go for a little bit longer. I couldn't tell who's going to win, and then boom, a move and someone wins. That's how you know.
Yeah, but there's quite a few wrestlers at the moment that haven't, like we've mentioned, that haven't been put on WrestleMania, which is kind of making me wonder because I'm looking through the list in front of me and there's people like Lash and Jax. I don't think people would be cared if they weren't on WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Dragon Lee's another one, JD McDonough,
Mm-hmm.
Bailey and Lyra, Sammy and Trick. These are all people that either I could pick them better opponents or people wouldn't be so fussed if they weren't on the WrestleMania card.
Yeah. But
People at LA Knight, how is he not one of the main people on a show?
mm-hmm.
Like, what is going on? What are your thoughts on the people that are missing and what's going on at the moment?
I don't know. I feel like the past couple of years, Triple H has had an issue where he's tried to cram as many people into matches into WrestleMania as he can. That maybe this year he's actually taking a step back and thinking that he doesn't need to do that. There's always the obvious storylines coming out of Rumble into Mania that need matches. And then there's some that they just randomly throw together. Like we just said, where's that El Grande match? Somehow they need to bring one of them out of that mask and back into a normal storyline.
Yeah.
But because we can't have two El Grandes forever. And
the
that
other
would
thing
have
as
been...
well you've got is, what are they called? American Made.
Yeah.
You've got those who are sat there going, oh, when's Chad Gable back? When's Gable back?
Yeah.
That'd be the perfect time to be like, I've been here the whole time. You've also got Los Americanos who are now gone to NXT to fight, and you're sitting there going, Pete, bring them back out as Pete Dunne and Tyler Bates.
Yeah,
bring them back as New Catch Republic, because that's what people want to see. You can tell it's fucking them because Pete Dunne's got a fucking round head. But there are a few people.
At some point, they've got to bring them away from that El Grande stuff because, like I said, we can't have two El Grandes forever. That was never the intention. And okay, we've had something good come out of this. Not saying Chad Gable being injured was a good thing. Obviously, he's recovered and well, but that injury led to having this other El Grande, and that has brought another storyline into play that was never going to be a thing. But like, that is an obvious storyline going into, and we don't have it.
Yeah, I would personally rather see Ludwig Kaiser back be him.
Yeah.
I watched the What You Want to Talk About podcast. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah.
Cody Rhodes' one with Gunter. And Gunter was talking about what his name is obviously Marcel, his real name, and he was like, "Oh, Marcel's probably one of the most gifted wrestlers I've ever seen." And you sit there going, Ludwig Kaiser's really good, and how he has adapted to be El Grande Americano, really good. Bring him back as him and let him do this shit because that's what we want to see.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of things. Now, I went to WrestleMania 39, and at that WrestleMania, you had 4 tag team matches that were all 4-way tag team matches. So you had, obviously, the 4 teams in. So what would that have been? 16 teams that would have been used, and it got some of the big people out of the way. Now that worked, and when we did our predictions the other month, I predicted my base off. So the women's tag match being 4 teams, but also the men's tag matches being 4 team matches, and each of them bring back like Street Profits, War Raiders.
Yeah, well, I would hope the Street Profits are coming back soon. I don't. What is one of them injured or both or something?
They've been on like NXT version of main event.
Oh, okay.
Because
they're like one of the most loved tag teams.
Montez Ford had a photo go live because he's gained a lot of weight.
Oh, okay.
Obviously not recovering well from an injury or whatever, and then there was a photo of him in a dark match on NXT, and he's a bit chunky.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know whether they're just waiting for them to get back in shape and then bring them back to TV. Maybe that could be a SmackDown, or that could be like Andre the Giant Battle Royal on SmackDown. But I think the one match had Street Profits, War Raiders, New Day.
Yeah, I remember.
And Otis and Tozawa or something like that in the match. And you sit there going, why are they not doing that more? Like you've got a 5-man ladder match for the IC Championship. Put 5 men in the US ladder match, make that a match. Women's IC Championship was a bit different because you've gone for a personal story, but you could always take the title out of that storyline and that would still be a good match.
Yeah,
and then have 5 women for the IC title, because you haven't got Io, Raquel, Roxanne, Oscar, Kyrie, like I said, Tiffy, Julia, Kiana, all these names, Jordan Grace.
And this is it. They brought Tiffany back as number 30 in the Royal Rumble.
Yeah. But you look at Raw, especially you got Natty now pushing, Maxine Dupree.
Yeah.
All these names of people that are not on the show, and you start there going like, it's crying out for a big ladder match to come onto the card and be like, it's for this kind of thing. But no, before we finish, get your final thought on, well, your final prediction on the match that I just mentioned, the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, which will take place on I'm assuming, the Friday night before WrestleMania.
How many people announced for that? Do they even announce people for that?
They don't announce people. It's normally just everyone else who's not on the card.
Yeah.
So who would be your prediction for that winner?
Who won last year? Can't remember.
Don't know. I know Jey Uso won it the year before.
Can't think of the top of my head. Who would I like to win the Andre the Giant Battle Royal?
So the last winner last year was Bronson Reed.
Oh, okay. Oh, I like that.
Oh, no, sorry. Carmelo Hayes was last year.
Maybe.
It says latest winner Bronson Reed, but then it says 2025 winner was Carmelo Hayes.
Oh, that's odd. Maybe
2024
Black.
I don't think that's correct. Aleister Black would be a great shout.
It
says list of winners. It's got Gunter won it in 2024, but I'm pretty sure that was Jey Uso.
Yeah, I don't know. The last one I remember winning was what's his face? The dude. Oh my god, what's his name? I can't think of his name. Wore like dungarees. No, like suspenders.
Madcap Moss.
Yeah, that's the last one I remember winning.
So the winners have been from 2014 to 2025 was Cesaro, Big Show, Baron Corbin, Mojo Rawley, Matt Hardy, Braun Strowman, Jey Uso, Madcap Moss, Bobby Lashley, Bronson Reed, and Carmelo Hayes.
Oh, okay.
So could be an interest. I think if you're going to go for anyone that's not in the match at the moment, obviously that could change, but I think Ali Knight. Or
maybe they could give it to Tom Thunder.
Danhausen.
Yes, give it to Dan. Just give it to Dan. Oh, could you imagine?
Everyone in there.
Yeah, that's literally what I was just about to say. Could you imagine? It's usually about 30 people, isn't it? So 29 people in the ring, and then Danhausen comes out as number 30, curses all of them, and just wins.
Yeah. I still sit there and think about, I'm assuming you've watched Unreal, season 1, when Michael Hayes says, what if for the Royal Rumble, right? 28 and 29 eliminate themselves, and then we just have Chelsea Green come out, and because she's the only one left, she wins. Imagine if Danhausen did that he was the last entrant into that Royal Rumble, but everyone's already eliminated, so he just wins without record.
That would be insane.
Comes out of a shirt cannon, walks into the ring, and then they just announce him as the winner, and it's like, okay.
That would be so good. I think a lot of people would be so mad, but a lot of people would be really happy.
It would 100% give me R-Truth vibes. But that's 2 other people, R-Truth and Damian Priest, current WWE Tag Team Champions, not on the roster. Yeah. Logan Paul and Austin Theory, new WWE Tag Team. That could be a match that gets announced for WrestleMania. So we've obviously got 2 weeks, but obviously they're not on the roster. And you think Logan Paul in the hype, he'd have to be on
WrestleMania is like your biggest PLE of the year. It's the Super Bowl of wrestling. Yeah. Why aren't all titles defended? All titles, I feel like WrestleMania should be built around every single title being defended and then other matches as fillers, not the other way around, which is what it seems like sometimes.
I said to David when we spoke about this before he decided to fly off to Greece and get married. Love you really, bud. I said that the first 11 matches that should be announced for WrestleMania should be the title matches.
The titles, yeah.
Then the last 3 to 4 weeks before Mania, say not the last 2 weeks, but the 2 weeks before that. So 4 weeks and 3 weeks to go to Mania. That's where you then do what they've done and put all the filler matches in of
Yeah.
the Finn and Dom and all that.
Wow.
And then the last 2 weeks, you're building the storylines, but then you throw in 1 or 2 matches that people wouldn't expect to be announced, and
Yeah.
you chuck them in.
We say that, but then not every title match is a fantastic or needed match. Some of the best matches have been non-title story matches. Drew,
Yeah.
Punk, you know,
But
Seth
imagine the storyline they could have built with Oba, Femi, and Brock,
and
and then you don't need to announce it until this week.
no.
But you could have had Brock in a match destroying someone, Oba, Femi come out and destroy him and win.
Yeah.
The week after, Oba, Femi's in a match, wins, Brock comes out and does the same thing.
Yeah.
You have this back and forth. Then you have a week or 2 of promos, and then you have them challenge each other at WrestleMania. And you go, yeah, right, sound.
But Brock doesn't want to turn up that much.
Yeah, but instead, you had a situation where Brock got eliminated at the Royal Rumble, and Oba, Femi entered the Royal Rumble, and you went, yep, there's that Mania match. Because you knew it was happening. Dom and Finn, it's another one that's a great match that's going to happen. I'd have kept Finn out for a little bit longer, and as I said to you earlier, I'd have brought him back as the Demon and have Dom in the match, maybe going for it like he was, going for his rematch for his title. Ultimately, then the Demon's music hits, and even if it was just that, what do they call it, Demonito or something like that, the little dolly,
Demonito,
that just appears in the ring.
Demonito,
and to give Dom that appears in the ring, shakes Dom to his boots, whatever, and ultimately then we get Finn Balor the week after come back and him going, well, it weren't me, I'm not the Demon, and you could have played that off, but instead it weren't. So
yeah.
But anyway, we could go on for hours, but
we could. There's always a but and what if.
I tend to end the podcast by asking David a random and weird question. So, because you're replacing David this week, we're going to do the same thing. So, my question would be, if you could bring back any WWE championship, but for the opposite gender, what title would you bring back, and who would you give it to first?
Ooh, I like this question. This is a good question. I hate being put on the spot though, because it takes me forever to think of something.
David sits and goes, I don't know.
So one of my favourite championships was obviously the Divas champion. Now, could you imagine a male Divas champion? And you've got to know who I'm giving it to straight away. Kit Wilson.
Oh my God, that's a great shout.
A male Divas champion, and it's going to Kit Wilson.
The Toxic Championship.
The Toxic Champion.
Yeah. Mine would be the Spinabout, because it was one of my favourites.
Yeah.
And I would give it to... I'd probably give it Tiffy and let her bling it all out. Pink gems and stuff.
Oh, pink gems. Like a nice pink
strap.
Pink dollar sign in the middle. Yeah, I like that.
I'd probably go with that one. So, well, I appreciate you coming on. So thank you very much. Let us know in the comments your thoughts on WrestleMania matches. Let us know what you would like to have seen. If there's anything that hasn't been spoken about, or predictions that you think we might have got wrong, terribly wrong. I got told in one video that my predictions for the WrestleMania card were disastrous and outrageous and were never going to happen. So let us know.
Wrestling fans' opinion.
Yeah, we've all got one. But let us know in the comments your thoughts and opinions. I'm sorry if you can hear my daughter. She's very impatient.
Oh, bless her.
Shh. So let us know your thoughts and opinions in the comments. Go and check out G's profile. And until the next time, we'll see you later.